Hello, I'm Alexis Brink, and I'm the president of Jinshin Institute, and I'm a member of the Social Action Committee of the USATAA. And today I'm here with Vann Joins. He's a PhD clinical psychologist and the president and director of the Southeast Institute for Group and Family Therapy in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He is an international psychotherapy trainer, supervisor, and consultant, as well as a certified TSTA and the 1994 winner of the Eric Byrne Memorial Award. Dr. Joins is a diplomat and one of the founding members of the Redecision Therapy Association. He's been a keynote speaker and has lectured and taught workshops worldwide. So it's so wonderful to see you. How are you?
Thank you. Doing very well. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
So let's get to it. My question, the mission of the Southeast Institute is the commitment to making the world a better place for all by connecting people to their worth, value, and dignity, and the worth, value, and dignity in others. What does that mean in the I'm okay, you're okay model within a family relationship, in an institution, and in the world?
Well, I'm okay, you're okay is one of the basic philosophical principles in transactional analysis. And people often misunderstand what that really means. They think it's a statement of behavior, which is not. It's really a statement of essence, that each of us as human beings have basic worth, value, and dignity. And when people relate that way, it really changes the dynamics of the interactions, and it changes the healthy transactions that occur between people. People tend to get into dysfunctional behavior when they feel like either they're not okay or someone else is not okay, or both. And so it really changes relationships and dynamics within the family, within couples relationships, within business relationships, institutions, and society, when people relate from a position of affirming the worth, value, and dignity of each of us as human beings.
So do you think this is more learned than these other
Yes.
positions other than I'm okay, you're okay?
Yes, these other positions are assumed in childhood based on how we are transacted with. When we're treated in negative ways or in abusive ways, or um, uh, ways that don't feel good, we often assume that there's something wrong with us, or there's something wrong with the other person, or both.
Mhm.
And those are really based on false notions, because as a child, we don't know that mother might be having a bad hair day or whatever, and that's why she's upset. We think it has to do with us personally. So the only existential position that really exists in reality is I'm okay, you're okay. All of us in reality have basic worth and value and dignity as human beings.
Yeah.
The others are all assumed.
And that's, we can see that very clearly, but a lot is going on in the world today as well. Can you
Right.
give an example of what we see coming from this position?
Well, I think all the attempts to make other people less than or not okay in some way, racism, sexism, all the isms, ageism, and so forth, are coming from a place of the person who's doing that feeling not okay themselves in some way, and attempting to put themselves one up by
Mhm.
looking down on other people, looking at other people as though they're defective in some way.
So would that be I'm okay, you're not okay? If you
Right.
talk about
Sure.
racism, sexism, all of these,
Yes,
yeah. So that's very quite dangerous.
that's right.
Because that's why this social action is so important. So much is
That's
happening.
right. Yes.
Who were your main influences and trainers in TA, and what did you learn from them?
Well, my first trainer was um, uh, Aaron Schiff, who was the first son that Jackie Schiff reparented. He was originally paranoid schizophrenic, and she reparented him. And I had my TA 101 course from him. And I've never seen a better put together person in my life. And I thought, wow, if TA can do this, I want to learn everything I can about that. And so that's really what got me turned on to TA in the first place.
Oh, that's incredible. And did you study with her?
Yes, later I studied with Jackie. We have a training institute in Chapel Hill. And so she came here many times and taught workshops over the years. Um, my primary mentors were Bob and Mary Goulding,
Mhm.
who were at the Western Institute for Group and Family Therapy at the time. I did 2 months back to back with them in the summer of 1972, and then did subsequent week-long sessions. And they both of them came here to our institute and taught workshops many times. In fact, the very last workshop that either of them did was at our institute. Um, and they were wonderful
What
models.
what was the main thing that you learned from them? What did you take from them personally, really?
That
Most
they're
people know it was redecision, right? Is what they put on the.
right. They teach redecision therapy, or they taught redecision therapy. Both of them are deceased now. But what I learned is that therapy can really be fun and exciting and brief. You don't have to spend ages in therapy before you can feel better and be better, which is actually what they learned from Eric Berne. Berne used to ask himself, how can I cure this patient in 20 minutes every time he went into a session? And, he didn't always do that. In fact, it's probably rare that he did that, but he did on occasion do that. But by asking himself that question and having that goal in mind, he really made himself a much more succinct and effective therapist.
Mhm. And the part of the uh, contracts is one of the main things, right? Is that you
Yes,
make it
yeah,
explicit.
transactional analysis is a contractual form of therapy. And it really is not up to the therapist to decide what is best for the client, because the client is the only one who ultimately is going to live with the consequences of what they decide. So the therapy really is a contractual cooperative process in terms of together negotiating the desired outcome that the client wants and that fits within the therapist's own clinical acumen and skills and knowledge of what might be helpful.
Mhm. Well, we met in Raleigh last year at a conference, a TA conference, and I was there when you taught Project TA 101, which
Oh,
was
good.
so amazing. And I'm studying now to become a TAP with Marion Weisberg, who you know.
Great. Yes.
And I use Project TA 101 to prepare for my lessons with her. So
Oh, good.
I look at them all the time, and it's so wonderful.
Right.
And I wanted to know what was your involvement exactly with the Project TA 101, and why is this project so important?
Well, Project TA 101 grew out of the desire of the Inclusion, Equality, and Social Action Committee of the United States Transactional Analysis Association. Um, Janet Dowson, who is the chairperson of that, approached me. She knew I was going to be teaching a TA 101 at the conference. This was the 50th anniversary conference of the Southeast Institute, which had as the theme promoting equality and okayness, healing the divisions in our world, and which I think was a very timely conference for 2019. And she asked me if we would focus the TA 101 on social justice. And I thought that was a great idea given the theme of the conference. And so we invited Graham Barnes, Valerie Batts, and Felipe Garcia to join with me in teaching the 2-day TA 101 course, really focused on social justice. And
Mhm.
it's the first one that TA 101 that was really focused on that theme. And the desire was to really make it available for free to worldwide audience to learn about transactional analysis, and especially how it could be used in promoting social justice in the world.
Yeah, so it's very important in this climate of racial tension, everything that's even just happened. So how do you see that TA can be helpful, like directly? Could you give some examples?
Yes, I think that if people relate to one another from that position of I have worth, value, and dignity, you have worth, value, and dignity, it really changes the nature of how we transact with one another, but also how we see one another, and really realizing what the slogan Lives Matter is all about, and that all of us are worthwhile and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
Yeah. And what is your personal take on what's happening globally, politically, psychologically, environmentally?
Well, unfortunately, there seems to be a shift to a lot of nationalistic, autocratic leaders who are really promoting nationalism and divisiveness, really, in the world, and as opposed to cooperation and working together. And so I think there's a lot of polarization in terms of uh, people who are more liberal or progressive and people who are more conservative, um, and unfortunately people are getting or escalating that, and have seemed to move away from really talking and dialoguing with each other and really seeking to understand each other's position and the value of each position, and looking at how we can work cooperatively together to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and so is it possible to tie that back again one more time to the TA and to the concept, the
Well,
basic?
yeah, I think transactional analysis is one of the clearest conceptual frameworks for understanding what's going on with people, both intrapsychically and interpersonally, and why people play psychological games and why they get into dysfunctional behavior and what that's all about. They are seeking attention and recognition, but in a very negative way. And TA really teaches them how to do that in a positive way that promotes cooperation and equality and inclusion rather than divisiveness.
Yeah, and so if we can work with TA on an individual level in institutions and then in the world, then the world can be a better place.
That's our hope, yes.
Oh, what is your wish for Project TA 101 and also the USA TAA? Because they really, can you explain their connection?
Yes, the USATA is the United States of America's Transactional Analysis Association. That as I mentioned, the Inclusion, Equality, and Social Action Committee of that organization were the ones who really came up with Project TA 101. And the hope is that that will be viewed internationally and will help people move to a more equitable way of relating to others, and more inclusiveness rather than divisiveness, and help heal a lot of the things that are happening in our world currently.
Mhm.
Um, and the USA TA Association certifies people in transactional analysis and has a training program that many of its members um, offer in terms of becoming a transactional analysis practitioner.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Van.
You're
It was
welcome.
great
I've
to speak
enjoyed
to you.
it. Thank
And
you.
I hope to see you soon. Stay well.
Thank
And
you.
thank
You too.
everybody for joining and watching our video and listening to Van. And we'll be back. Nice to see
Great.
you.
Nice to see you as well.